The Assembly is appealing the decision made to dismiss the CEZ case, one of the most important and darkest moments of corruption in Albanian history. The SMI Vice President Luan Rama says that the COE local authorities delegation report is clear proof that the June 30th elections have failed. The Ministry of Finance reports the arrears of 61 municipalities, of which 1.5 billion Albanian lek originates from the municipality of Tirana. It's 6 o'clock on Friday, the 7th of February, 2020. Good evening and thank you for tuning in to the English edition of Ora News. My name is Christopher, bringing you the only update of the local Albanian news translated into English. The Assembly's plea to the Court of Appeal for the decision to dismiss the CEZ case was made by the Tirana court a few days ago. The Assembly, represented by MP Talan Bala, urges the Court of Appeal to return the case to the Tirana Judicial District Prosecutor's Office to carry out the investigative actions necessary to reach a lawful and objective conclusion regarding the criminal offenses. I would like to inform you that in the capacity as representative of the Assembly, we have submitted to the Court the appeal to request the review of the case. The Court may have made a dissertation explaining the terms and offenses, but did not properly analyze the facts. I would like to explain to the public that the CEZ file is one of the most important and darkest moments of corruption in the history of Albania. The privatization of the CEZ has been the subject of an investigation commission, and in our assessment, it is in complete violation of the law, said Bala. According to Bala, the Assembly argues that the Tirana Judicial District Prosecutor's Office did not carry out the necessary investigative actions before deciding to dismiss the case. The Parliamentary Inquiry Committee, after reviewing the documentation related to privatization, determined that 76% of the shares sold from the OSHEE distribution system operator to the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Energy to the Republic of Albania, and CEZ concluded that a number of senior Albanian state officials during the years 2005 to 2013, persons exercising the highest public office, illegally purchased shares amounting to 414 million euros. Former DP MP Yorita Tabaku, in his press statement today, reacted to the Standard & Poor's report on the economic situation and fiscal policies in Albania. She said the latest S&P reported that the government refused to make the public miserable economic situation, as well as the high debt of the government spending on excessive luxury and oligarchs, but not on Albanians and their needs. The year 2019 ended with a negative balance for the economy, just like the last 6 years. Consumption being at the lowest levels of years, 49% of Albanians in poverty, missing income of around 160 million euros has led to a drastic decline in the confidence in the economy from citizens and businesses. These indicators are significant to Rama's philosophy of governance. Taxes increases to about 2 billion euros, a stratospheric private-public partnership bill, and public debt rising to 83%. This deplorable economic situation was also reflected in the latest S&P report that the government refused to make public. The white and black report is the proof that shows that the informal economy is the only type of economy in Albania, and that the Euroization of the domestic market is not due to trade, but due to the dark economy and cannabis. Tabaku stated that the Standard & Poor's report once again reiterates that Albania has a risk arising from PPPs that are becoming increasingly uncontrollable, and that the investment corporation is a risk to conceal public debt. The government offers no assurance that it will respect the ceiling for PPP payments, as it offers no guarantees to control their contracts and efficiency. What is at stake in Albania now is the debt hiding through the investment corporation and the weak debt structure. The investment corporation is a time-consuming mine in the economy of budget of a country in the grip of poverty. As the opposition has warned, this corporation is not aimed at the well-being of Albanians, but only some of the individuals who do not produce to assist the economy, but only centralize power and property in the hands of a few. According to Tabaku, there is only one way out of this renaissance trap: through early elections, serious fiscal policies in the medium and long term. SMI Vice President Luan Rama says the report of the COE local authorities delegation is clear proof that the June 30th elections have failed. In a press release from the SMI headquarters, Rama said that Albania must fulfill the homework set out in the Bundestag resolution as a condition for opening negotiations. The delegation of the Council of Europe's local and regional authorities in its official positions emphasizes through the statement made by Mr. Gunnar Gilgesson, who is the president of the House of Congress of Regions, that unfortunately, I quote, local elections of the year 2019 were not conducive to the strengthening of local democracy in Albania, but have led to pluralism in municipalities and a further erosion of citizens' trust in the country's institutions. Albania must fulfill the homework to set out by the German Bundestag resolution as a condition for opening negotiations with the European Union. Therefore, the government in particular should renounce the deliberate blocking of the Constitutional Court. It should abandon its efforts to seize the Constitutional Court, thereby compromising the entire reform of justice. It deliberately blocked the Constitutional Court precisely to create the grounds for impunity, the ground for non-implementation of law, and the ground for the further criminalization of public political life in the country. The European Union is closely monitoring the implementation of the anti-KCK package within the framework of operation of rule of law, with emphasis on its full implementation and in line with human rights. When asked if Ermal Hoxha will also be the subject of this package, EU Ambassador Luigi Soreca said, "You are asking me if I am a prosecutor or the head of operation of rule of law. What I can say is that this special law applies a principle that has worked over and over. Just follow the money. The law is clear to its subjects, and for the EU now at this juncture, the way the law is being implemented is very important. We are closely monitoring the implementation of this law and continue to be in constant contact with the authorities and will meet with the head of the SPAC next week. It is important that the law is fully implemented and in accordance with human rights." Meanwhile, the Director of State Police, RTV said, "The normative act has been implemented for 5 days, and this normative act has the full force of action until December 31st, 2020. We guarantee that every individual subject to this law will be part of the investigation, and there will be no tolerance. The OFL will respect all obligations set out in this normative act." This statement came after a meeting in Kakavi. The Ministry of Finance reports that the arrears of 61 municipalities in the 9 months of 2019 amounted to 6.6 billion Albanian lek. 24% of this amount, or 1.5 billion Albanian lek, originates from the municipality of Tirana. Debt stock for all 61 municipalities in the country in the first 9 months of the last year amounted to roughly 648 million Albanian lek. It is also reported that the stock of arrears at the end of September amounted to 6.6 billion Albanian lek. Tirana municipality holds first place with 24% of all liabilities, or 1.6 billion Albanian lek, followed by Kavaja, Pogradec, and Kamza, but at a much lower value. Debt has been created despite revenue growth, amounting to 20.7 Albanian billion lek, especially from the infrastructure tax. Even in this case, the Tirana municipality has collected almost half of the total tax on buildings, roughly 2.9%. The dependence on infrastructure tax revenue from new construction continues to be high, recording an increase of 91.7%. The capital remains the main contributor and amounts to all Albanian lek and 5.3 billion, followed by Leja with 368.8 million Albanian lek, and Durrës at around 249 million Albanian lek. Revenues from local tariffs fell slightly by 0.9%, driven by a contraction of about 7.7% of revenues in the municipality of Tirana, which accounts for 42.8%. During the 9-month period of the 2019, the total expenditure of 61 municipalities amounted to a total of 63.4 billion Albanian lek. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join us again every Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Ora News, thank you and good night.